Basically actually saying that although everyone is afraid of MiCa, it only offers benefits? Is there no cons regarding MiCa for us? So welcome to Crypto and Taxes, where we speak about crypto taxation and regulation. And today we have the pleasure to talk to Martinho Lucas Pires, who is the crypto lawyer and on European regulation level. So Martinho, welcome. Could you give a brief introduction about yourself?
Hello, Thomas. Thank you very much for having me here. So I'm a lawyer and a consultant at BlockReg Advisors, a consultancy firm dedicated only to the regulation of crypto assets. So we help basically, and it's my job basically to help clients moving on with licensing procedures in Europe related to crypto. And I'm also a law professor at Católica University in Lisbon.
Great. So let's start with the first question. What is the main reason that the EU set up the MiCa regulations?
Well, the main reason was to basically get ahead of the competition and try to create, looking into the fragmented regulatory space that existed among member states at the time, trying to create a uniform, centralized set of rules that could apply everywhere at the same in the same way. And with that, try to help to create a market in crypto assets and to regulate these activities that were, whose regulation at the time was pretty complicated, so to speak.
Okay, and how does MiCa apply for businesses?
Well, MiCa applies to everyone that wishes to exercise an economic activity with crypto assets. For example, if you want to sell, exchange, transfer, or custody crypto assets, you will need to have this new license, which will be a crypto asset service provider license. Which basically is similar. The procedure is very similar to having, for example, a license for opening a bank or for opening a financial institution. So it's kind of a new type of license, new requisites that you need to have. You also will have to fulfill requirements if you want to like issue a token, or if you want to, and depending on the token that you issue, for example, if you want to issue a stablecoin, you need to fulfill certain requirements. If you want to issue a utility token, you need to fulfill another requirements. And MiCa also states that only applies to tokens that are non-securities. So if you want to issue, for example, security tokens, you're going to be subject to traditional laws of financial regulation, and you're going to have to register with traditional financial regulators.
Now this is the most important question that I wanted to ask you. What is going to change for us as users? Like what is going to be different for us as users? And I assume that this only applies to centralized exchanges.
Yeah, well, MiCa only applies to centralized exchanges, so it's not really, well, some people say that there might be some application to DeFi, but explicitly, at least in MiCa, and I think I don't agree with that understanding, MiCa is not for DeFi. It doesn't mean that DeFi is not going to be regulated in the future by the EU. It applies to centralized exchanges and to companies or corporations or individuals that exercise business activities in this. How are users gonna, or consumers are gonna deal with this? Well, first of all, they're gonna have more information, and it's gonna be required to have more information from the part of the businesses that are selling or providing the services on what is the service that they are doing. Second, we're gonna have more protection because instead of any company that wishes to do so and that presents itself as being a crypto service provider, now only some that are authorized by national regulators will going to be able to provide these services. And in a way, we're going to have, in principle, I think that's the idea that the EU wants, to have a safer, more regulated market where users can benefit from crypto asset gains and other logics within it.
Okay, so you're basically actually saying that although everyone is afraid of MiCa, it only offers benefits? If crypto businesses now are regulated, my clients sometimes have the problem that they're cashing out and the bank stops the transaction because it comes from an exchange. Maybe once they're now regulated, they won't stop that transaction and they just accept the transaction from an exchange. So what I'm hearing is that MiCa, not so good for businesses, but very good for users and consumers. Don't you agree?
Yeah. But I think it's going to be good for the market in general, because the way the system was built until now, depending on your view of the market, some people really enjoy it, some people didn't enjoy it. But I think it was going to happen at some point that everything was going to be regulated. So I think businesses are going to win with it, but I think users are going to win with it, because also for that situation that you're saying, banks suddenly will not have that much of an excuse not to cash out on these businesses if they are regulated and if they are already approved by, for example, the Bank of Portugal and other issues. So yeah, so I look forward at least, or at least I hope that happens.
Then the last question, which you already kind of talked about like earlier, DeFi. So there is a rumor that there is already like a MiCa 2.0 where they're going after DeFi. How is it possible? How can they go after DeFi? Like, how are they going to regulate DeFi if there is no companies connected to DeFi? Do you have any idea about that?
Yeah, they're going to go after the founders of the protocol. They're going to go after the developers of the protocol. They're going to go, because DeFi, we talk a lot about DeFi being decentralized, being digital, there being no companies, only DAOs and working, etc. But we forget that these DAOs have faces. Usually they're backed up by foundations or corporations that might be located in the BVI or in Europe even, or in some other places. They have founders, they have developers that meet, that discuss these things. So there are public faces of this, right? The only public face that we don't know, and I don't know if we'll ever know in life, is Satoshi, right? So, but the rest, like we know everyone and we know what they're doing. And the connection that specifically at an early stage, the connection that these founders and these foundations have, and also some supporters, right, some backers of these protocols have at an early stage when investing, is pretty clear, right? Because there's no community, there's no market, there's no protocol. So and I think this is where MiCa or MiCa 2 will try to get to these kind of institutions. Well, in the US, where a lot of these questions are appearing right now, there have already been cases where the owners of governance tokens of a DAO have been called upon in judicial procedures. So as if they were, for example, shareholders of a company or something. Because again, they're looking into this kind of connection that exists between what is a DAO or what is a DeFi protocol, what is this program, and what are the people that build it, the people that manage it, the people that use it. So I think they're going to try to find some kind of connection with the link, or the easier link, physical link that they can get to, be that the foundation behind, the proponent, or in a language using more similar to what the Americans say, the fiduciary, right? The caretaker, the one that wants the business to develop it and to sell it to people. So I think that's if they want to regulate kind of DeFi, that's where they'll probably try to find an angle on.
And to finish off this interview, how can people reach out to you, or where can they follow you? Where do you want to be contacted?
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn, Martinho Lucas Pires at the BlockReg Advisors. Our website is currently on maintenance. I hope that I don't know when you're going to publish this, but I'm gonna put it like this in the date. So I hope that in the week of 6th June onwards, the website is live, so that everyone can join in. I work at a fintech house in Lisbon. They have some really good happy hours between 5 to 6 on Thursdays. So if you want to have a chat or etc., I'm always happy to be contacted.
I'm definitely coming by. So thanks a lot for this interview, and I hope if anything changes or any interesting topics pop up, that we can contact you again.
For sure, Thomas. Whenever you want.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.